Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Stuff just coming in so fast these days, it's hard to keep up, and that is the case tonight. I am going to do my best, but especially on the political front, the developments are coming fast and furious, especially here in Canada, where the leader of the Conservative Party, I said it, I've been saying it for the past 2 days. This whole thing with him stopping on the side of the highway to meet with the Axe the Tax protesters who are being portrayed in the mainstream media as members of the Diagolon far-right political activist, white supremacist group. That's the way the mainstream media portrays Diagolon. You can decide what they are on your own. The members of the group consistently say they're nothing but a meme. Well, I said, the whole thing with Pierre Poilievre and the Axe the Tax protest and all of this stuff, I said it could be kind of a trap. And I don't know if it is a trap, but I'm going to show you what's going on with that tonight. It's making me laugh, but it's dead serious stuff. Yeah. And it will have an impact on the election. You'll have to decide which way it's gonna go. Will it help Poilievre or hurt him? You can decide. And I think what we'll do is, I'm going to open up the program to video calls coming in for select people. Yeah, I'll put the link in there, and I'll do it right now. Actually, this is a very interesting time in politics. The stuff that's going on, I'll tell you. This is brilliant politics all the way around. It really is. Okay. To join the show, and I don't want anybody to join right now, but in a little while we will make the program available. I'd like to, if Steve is here, maybe Steve Robitaille, if he's here, maybe he'll join the program. And the reason I suggest him is because, he's a member of Diagolon. Or if there's anybody else who's a member of Diagolon, maybe you want to jump on the show and tell us, or give us some perspective on what I'm about to share with you tonight. What else do we have? Oh yeah, out in British Columbia, Premier David Eby recriminalizing public drug use. Failed drug policies out there. Terrible, terrible, terrible situation. So they're recriminalizing. Did you hear what I said? Not decriminalizing, recriminalizing drugs. The use of drugs in public spaces. So we'll share that with you. Yeah, and I see people talking about the Madeline Island story in the chat here. Yeah, I wanted to get to that the other night. That's a strange story. It's very left wing, I would say. If you want to go visit there, and the tourism industry is growing, they're going to charge you a fee to leave the island. And if you live there, they're going to want you to have a QR code scanned so that you can gain entry and exit to the municipality, and if you don't comply, they'll fine you. So that's kind of the stuff that they do in communist countries. They just did it to me when I left Costa Rica. Yes, $35 fee to leave. If you don't pay, you ain't going. I guess you stay there till you rot in hell. Communists in Canada openly calling for revolution. It's making the rounds on social media, a new video with young communists in Canada openly calling for a revolution. I'm way ahead of the curve on this one. I told you about these guys. It has to be 4 months ago, maybe longer. 3, 4, 5 months ago. Why did I do that? Well, because I was assured by other communists that they don't want to overthrow the government. Oh no, the communists don't want to overthrow the government or anything, I was told. And I went, oh, that's odd, because right here on this website, it's open. They openly call for a revolution, and they say they want to overthrow the government. Like, they literally say they want to overthrow the government in their website. And tonight we have a new video that we're going to share with you on that front as well. So we have politics galore from all sides: the left, the right, the top, the bottom, the liberals, the conservatives. You name it, we've got it. And we'll have it all when we come back right after this.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. Let's start with the Pierre Poilievre stuff here in Canada. Sorry, my American friends. Hey, this is Canadian news, but you should take note, because this stuff affects you in more ways than you know. This country very unstable right now, and we are right on your doorstep. We are your next door neighbor. We had the world's largest undefended border for, well, all through our constitutional history and pre-constitutional history. But things have changed a little bit since 9/11. Nevertheless, still a very long border. Best of friends for now. Except during the War of 1812, when we did burn your White House. Just saying. Maybe that's why Jackson Hinkle and Tucker Carlson and who else was it that was calling for the invasion of Canada the other day? Tim Pool, I think. everybody wants to invade Canada. Very strange, kind of like foreshadowing. But I wouldn't want to start jumping down any conspiratorial rabbit holes. Not when the truth is stranger than fiction anyway, because we have Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, leading in the polls, probably the next Prime Minister of Canada. As you know, 2 days ago, he stops on the side of the highway at an Axe the Tax rally. Axe the Tax, that has been the slogan that Pierre Poilievre, leader of the Conservative Party, came up with to battle, to oppose the Liberal NDP carbon tax in Canada. Very unpopular, I would say. And this is helping to propel Poilievre to the Prime Minister's office. The next election has to be held sometime, I believe, by October of next year, constitutionally, according to the Election Act. Nevertheless, we could go sooner. The Conservatives way out in front in the polls with about 42%, I think, is the latest poll. Enough for a majority government. So, I don't know. If you were this whole thing, it's either going to clip Poilievre's wings or it's going to lift him. It's going to be the air beneath his wings and lift him to even greater heights. I don't know which. All I know is 2 days ago he stops at the side of the highway at this Axe the Tax protest, which, as I pointed out, it has been co-opted, stolen, not borrowed, I think stolen by the freedom movement in Canada. And this is because about 5-6 weeks ago, Poilievre encouraged people to get out and protest the tax. So, the freedom people, lots of them right here, a lot of them are you guys, they said, okay, we'll do it. Pierre Poilievre told us to come and protest. They've been sitting now for 24 days on the sides of highways in various locations, small protests, smatterings of freedom protesters, now, embracing the Axe the Tax slogan. So this has been going on for about 3 weeks. Yeah, 2 days ago, Poilievre, out in the Maritimes, stops at the side of the highway at one of the protests and meets with the people. Now, it's pretty organic, I'd say, this particular one. No, I didn't see, well, there was maybe one guy there that I recognize as a really prominent political figure within the freedom movement in Canada. But generally speaking, I think this was, an organic kind of a thing. Poilievre knows that they're using his slogan, and he's like, yeah, you guys are doing a great job. And so far, the protests have been very peaceful, no big issues, right? But I said, the Poilievre's opponents are going to use this as ammunition because they immediately latched onto this thing and said, oh, there's Poilievre flirting with the far right. And this is what it looked like when he stopped on the side of the highway the other day.
Hello. Good, how are you?
So I'm the guy who's going to axe the tax.
Well, let's hope so.
Well, don't hope so. Make it so.
That's
Make
why
it
we're
so.
here.
I know you are. Mm-hmm. You don't like the tax much, I can tell. Eh?
No, I don't like it at all.
23 days.
This is
here.
going somewhere,
23
folks.
days.
Wow.
Yes.
What are your names?
My name's Gina.
Gina?
Yep.
I'm Tasha.
Tasha?
Tommy.
Tasha, Tommy. Hey, today I'm Dean. Dean.
What are the chances of that?
I know.
what are the
I
chances?
thought he was joking. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Did you see
No.
a sign? It's got a big axe, a big wooden sign when you're
Honestly,
out
we're-
on the highway.
we're not a political.
light pole.
Yeah.
There's a big axe the tax over there. Like that.
Yeah, we're not a political. It's for everybody.
Stickers
Like,
on here.
but
I did that.
it just seemed people came axe the tax too because it's scrap the tax and hey, we're all against the same thing.
Yeah.
We can't afford this, right? There's
Yeah.
so many homeless people, and people just can't even afford to go to the grocery store and actually grocery shop.
Yeah.
They have to decide what they're going to do. People are getting behind, and eventually they're going to be homeless or going from a nice apartment to like Skid Row just to make it.
And the sad part is, we got the majority of soy boys sitting home playing video games.
Who are the soy boys? What is a soy
Well,
boy?
I would define a soy boy as someone that's not here that would rather sit home and scratch his nuts and play video games all day. In the morning, there's an old man that comes here.
Yeah.
He's in his 70s. He parks up there in his Crown Vic at probably 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Puts his Canada flags on, gets his car ready until we wake up here around probably 7:38. He comes down. His wife's doing chemo. He'll go out there and he'll stand on the side of the road for hours and bring coffee.
Wow.
We have seniors coming from in town, seniors coming from Moncton. We have seniors just driving here. They bring chilies, they bring soups. They'll come in, they'll put a crock pot on, feed us. While they go out and raise a lot. While these teenagers and preteens and young adults are just sitting home playing video games, not giving a shit. The same people that built this country are the same people coming out to stand.
Yeah.
For the rest of them that would just rather sit home and
We do get a lot of support on the highway.
Yes.
So there is an enormous amount of support.
Yeah.
And we're actually reaching out. There's people that probably wouldn't really step out of their comfort zone and come to a place like this. But because I think they see how peaceful and law-abiding and everything, normal people that have, some people have a business, some people have, nobody's out here that's like homeless, put it that way, at all, right? We came with 2 truckloads of food. We had enough to take care of us and other people. We didn't put out for money. We haven't had any merchandisers or any kind of grifting whatsoever. This is for the people. We don't want to take anything from anybody. We love everybody.
feeding breakfast to.
Yeah,
But
like
it sucks.
Okay, so we watched most of this the other night. Let me just fast forward a bit here, see if I can get you. Here it is here. And I'm going to show you this one more time because this is going somewhere. This is not just a rehash of the other night. I just want to tee this stuff up for you and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so they took Polyev into this trailer that they have on site.
light switch right here.
Look at this. Look at this here. There's
Like, come on now. I knew where the light switch was. I turned them on. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for putting that in there.
There we go. Light.
Don't worry about it. I'll pick it up after. No, I don't want it to fall down.
See, pretty modest.
Yeah?
Yeah,
So you guys sleep?
that's right.
Where do you sleep?
I sleep right here in my car.
Just leave. We got a diesel heater in there. We got the donations for everybody.
Yeah, but I can show you exactly where I'm using the express conditions that lay after. But if you want to actually know where I sleep, I'll show you.
Yeah, you show them, and then I'll show them where I sleep.
And as he came out of here,
Yeah, the big stop. Yeah. Trucker shop.
okay, so as he came out of that trailer, this isn't the right angle. But I showed you the other night on the door, they have a lot of signatures, and there's a picture of a Diagolon flag. It's like just hand drawn. But of course, the media latched onto that. And let me see if I can get you that money shot. When I say money shot, it's like that's the one that his opponents were waiting for. Here it is here. And out he comes. Here it comes. I've got the shot. There it goes. Let me enlarge that for you. Hold on. I have to recue. Here we go. Okay. There it is. So if you look at that door, you can see there's Polyev coming out of the trailer. See that black symbol on the bottom of the door? Midway down the bottom port. Black with the line through. That's the Diagolon flag. Which is, well, you can say whatever kind of group you want. The Canadian Anti-Hate Network hates them. We've talked about it a lot. It was discussed a lot during the inquiry into the use of the Emergencies Act after the Freedom Convoy. Jeremy McKenzie arrested, went to jail. Sort of one of them. I guess he's like a founder of Diagolon, right? Anyway, this was the shot that I know that the mainstream media and Poilievre's political opponents were waiting for. There's the flag, there's Poilievre. They asked him actually to pose for a selfie in front of some F. Trudeau flags, and Poilievre said, well, maybe we'll stand over someplace with something else in the background. So he didn't do that. But I said immediately that this would be used as political ammunition against Poilievre, and indeed, it's coming from both sides. You see, I said from the very beginning, the freedom groups latching onto the Axe the Tax slogan and the campaign, taking it to the streets the way they have, the highways, if you will. I said, it's not because they're Poilievre's friend. It's some of the people within the freedom movement are. A lot, but a lot of the more main people don't like him at all. They don't trust him. You don't trust him. I know a lot of you don't. And this is a political strategy, not designed to really support the Axe the Tax campaign or Poilievre or the Conservatives at all. It's got the opposite intent in mind. So, how do I know? Well, it's because tonight, this is actually, it's making me laugh. Here's the ferryman's toll from, he's the Diagolon member. He's posting all this stuff tonight about Poilievre, about how he's their guy. They're endorsing him, which is going to make the left just lose their minds. They already have. So here's this. I really like these Diagolon guys. Diagolon is a violent white nationalist organization. I already said I like them. You don't have to sell them to me. This is coming from the Diagolon guys. All right. And hashtag Pierre 4 p.m. hashtag Diagolon. Hang on, we'll get you more. I told you. Oh man. What else do we have? We've got this one. They've been busy. They've been busy over there. Yeah, so here's this too. What are the comments in here? Yeah, so there's Steve Robitaille there. Says, F, I want to hug Pierre just now. Jake says, this is hilarious. Front page of CBC coming right up. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. So they've reeled him in, you see. They've reeled Pierre in. He took the bait. And now we'll see what happens. And certainly, I mean, you can assess it in a variety of ways. Here's another post from the Ferryman's Toll. Here you go. So here's criticism being leveled at the Ferryman's Toll from Clyde Do Something, and well, it's a video. Here, I'll show you. So I'm going to turn the audio down. So Clyde says, give it time. He said that people don't identify with the, what was it, the white identitarian politics, that white identitarianism is inevitable, says the Freeman's Toll. Clyde said something to the effect of, people don't identify with what Diagolon is doing. So, of course, Freeman's Toll hitting back, fighting with Clyde. And this is sort of a sidebar, but you're getting the point. They've reeled Pierre in, and he took the bait. Now they're making the most of it and they've even come out and endorsed. They've endorsed Pierre Poilievre now. So, of course, what will that mean? That means that Poilievre will be hauled into the court of public opinion by the mainstream media, and he'll be called upon to denounce Diagolon, and if he doesn't, he'll be cast as a white supremacist. Pierre Poilievre, he's our guy. That's what they're saying over there within the Diagolon group. And they're sharing all of his hashtags. Bring it home, hashtag Axe the Tax, hashtag Pierre for PM, and hashtag Diagolon. So they've hitched their wagon to the Pierre Poilievre train, and they are forcing this issue. What is the issue? Immigration. And more. And yeah, I will kind of leave it there. This is, as I said, this is pretty swift. This is slick politics, in my view. A little more than a meme. A very active political group, I would say. And this is absolutely, in my view, a gotcha moment for Pierre Poilievre. When I say gotcha, I mean, again, I don't know how it's going to play out. You, I don't know. Pierre, Justin Trudeau, it caught him flat-footed the other day, because when asked about it in a media scrum, Trudeau responded in an almost incoherent way. He started babbling about everything from conspiracy theories to white supremacy and Alex Jones and InfoWars. He couldn't formulate an effective answer to the question about Pierre Poilievre stopping on the side of the highway to meet with those protesters. And of course, you've got that flag, right? So there it is. So they're saying, oh, see, it's Diagolon. Anyway, here's Trudeau talking about exactly this very thing again. Let's give you the clip. Here he is, our Prime Minister.
I've been thinking about this in
today.
Regards to Pierre Poilievre. Anyone who wants to be Prime Minister of this country needs to be clear with Canadians about whose votes he wants and who he stands with. If Pierre Poilievre wanted to be a responsible leader, I'll even give him the words. This is what he should say. I reject categorically the endorsement and the support of Diagolon and of Alex Jones. Because Diagolon is a violent white nationalist organization and Alex Jones is a garbage conspiracy theorist. That's all Pierre Poilievre would have to say. But he won't say it. And that tells you about the kinds of choices he's making as a leader.
I told you. So there, I hadn't even listened to that clip yet today. There it is. What did I tell you? I said he's going to be called out. Poilievre will be asked, or they will demand of him that he denounce Diagolon. And there it is. This will escalate from here. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, politics. It's a blood sport. Oh, yeah. We're just getting started with this one, folks. Very interesting. Things are going to get real interesting. Stay with me. More coming up on the other side.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
I am back. And apparently so is communism. Yeah, we've had communists on the show. We talk to everybody here. If we can, anybody that wants to. Give them at least one kick at the can. Pretty much. Well, and then I've been assured, oh, no, we're communists. We don't want to overthrow the government or anything. Yeah, they do. That's the whole point. They always want a revolution. They want a communist revolution. That's the whole thing, man. It's like they want a communist revolution. And then, after I was assured, nope, don't want one, I just went to a website for one of the main communist groups, and it's right in there. It even says the objective is to overthrow the government. In those words! Now, that same group has a new promotional video out. Because they're back. Communism is on the march in Canada, quite literally.
Communism is back. Last week, communists from across the country took to the streets under the red banner of communism. Vancouver, Victoria, Toronto, Ottawa, Edmonton, Montreal, Quebec City, and Sherbrooke.
We are building this party to overthrow Canadian imperialism.
People honked in support filmed us, and some even joined in on the marches. In the days since, we've had dozens of communists across Canada write into us and ask if they can join the RCP. This is only the beginning. Last weekend shows the incredible potential that exists in this country for a mass revolutionary communist party. We need to harness this potential and organize it into a mass fighting force. This is why we need every communist from the biggest city to the smallest town to build a communist cell where you live and work. And this May, we are all coming together to discuss how we will overthrow this fucked up system once and for all at the founding Congress of the RCP in Montreal. So join us and build the forces of communism wherever you are, and help us found the RCP this May. Together, we will win.
Nothing like authoritarianism. Oh man, like, okay. In fact, it was last weekend. I'm pretty sure it was last weekend. I showed you them marching through the streets of, I think it was Montreal, carrying the communist banner. It might have been Toronto. Can't keep them all straight. You know, one of the pro-Hamas rallies, which this is right up John's alley. Yeah, this is perfect for John because he's perfectly in alignment with these guys, the communists, and Leo too. So, like, I showed you, and they were shouting for a revolution then. And if you go to their website, it's like this is just one of the one communist group website. This is the same group that made the video, I believe. What do they call for? It's right there, communist revolution. Oh no, we don't want to overthrow the government. It's a revolution. Yeah. What is a revolution? I guess you could have a peaceful revolution. But throughout history, communist revolutions have traditionally not been very peaceful at all. Communist revolution, all parties are complicit in genocide, and yeah, they don't like Trudeau, they don't even like Jagmeet Singh, and oh, just in time for May Day, yeah. Palestine solidarity protests escalate, yeah. Very interesting, isn't it? Canadian forces train the Palestinian Authority on how to oppress. Agitate, organize, it says. Revolutionary Communist International Manifesto. Towards a revolutionary communist party. And I showed you the last time we visited this communist website, I did take you right to the page where they literally say that they want to overthrow the government. Here's another cell. Oh, God. You must create cells in the shadows. We will, when we activate you, the code word will be Big Bird. And yeah, this is, yeah, right in alignment with, oh yeah, the fascists. Oh my God. The communists, they sound just like the people that they oppose. Cut military spending, say no to NATO. NATO turns 75, Canada out of NATO. It's you know, that's what I'm saying. These labels almost don't make sense anymore because you're getting this convergence of the extremes where they should just, they are coming together. That's why you're getting sort of Islamo-communism or Islamo-fascism. Same damn thing. And this is why John and Leo are in perfect alignment with these guys, because they talk just like these guys. Which is okay. You're still welcome to share your opinions here. End the illegal U.S. blockade of Cuba now. A day of solidarity with women in struggle, women's rights, reaction, genocide, environmental catastrophe, and growing resistance, environmentalism. Foreign interference is McCarthyism. Yeah. And this is the one for John, and that's genocide and Canada's participation in genocide and escalation. UN ceasefire vote. Yeah, that was when the UN voted in favor of a ceasefire, or wanted a ceasefire, which was not binding, even though they said it was. So there you go, my good friend Johnny. There's your tribe. And I don't know what else to tell you, man. It's like, that's where we're at today in Canada. I've never seen the extremes so powerful on either side. And this whole thing with Diagolon, I'm laughing. It's funny, because there it is. Now, out in British Columbia today, the Premier announced that they are going to recriminalize drug use in public spaces. Here's a government release on that story today. They did hold a news conference. I don't think I have a copyright-free clip of the address by the Premier, so I'll just let you know what's going on. It says BC is taking action to make illicit drug use illegal in all public spaces, including inside hospitals, on transit, and in parks, as part of several new measures introduced by the province focused on providing police with more tools to address public safety while offering support and access to treatment for people living with addictions. Keeping people safe is our highest priority. This is the Premier speaking. While we are caring and compassionate for those struggling with addiction, we do not accept street disorder, and that makes communities feel unsafe. We're taking action to make sure police have the tools they need to ensure safe and comfortable communities for everyone as we expand treatment options so people can stay alive and get better. This is a reversal, especially for British Columbia, which I would say has had the most liberal or progressive drug laws, I think, in Canada. And they are citing some quick facts here in this news release, saying BC's 3-year exemption under Section 56-1 of the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act to decriminalize people who use drugs was first requested on November 1st of 2021 and enacted January 31st, 2023. Since 2017, the province has opened 600 publicly funded substance use treatment beds throughout BC. The province has invested $35 million to support 49 community counseling agencies province-wide, and more than 250,000 free or low-cost counseling sessions have been delivered to individuals, couples, and families. There are currently 50 overdose prevention sites around the province to provide people who use drugs with the tools and supports they need to use safely and connected to care. Almost half of these sites provide inhalation services. None of these approaches to drug abuse have worked out in British Columbia. It has resulted in increases in all kinds of crime, both direct and indirect, as a result. And now the province backtracking on this. Make no mistake, this decision to empower police to effect arrests and confiscate illicit drugs, or any drugs really, in public spaces, not for simple possession, but for using drugs in public spaces. It will give police much greater latitude, and it's going to roll back the hands of time just a bit here to a time when police were able to exert more force and keep the streets clear of some of the problems, at least out of sight, will this result in better treatment options? Today, during the news conference, the Premier did refer to meetings that he had had recently with healthcare providers and physicians who are experts in this field. The drug problem is so bad in British Columbia that doctors are now finding that they have to develop new treatment protocols, completely new treatments, period, in order to address the health issues that accompany the kinds of addictions, the severe addictions that we're seeing today. Brain damage being one of the most concerning things that physicians are seeing as a result of the drug abuse that is happening in our communities. Mental illness also cited, and as I say, EB today, the Premier, saying that doctors have had to develop completely new protocols, completely new approaches to address these problems. I would say it's because of our government's completely failed drug policies that have allowed the drugs to flow onto the streets and have affected people who are directly who are users of these drugs. It has destroyed lives, and it is destroying communities, families, indirectly and even directly as a result of all this. Polyev latching on to this issue today. I don't think he said anything today about the Diagolon endorsement. I'm not sure where that will go with Pierre Polyev. We'll keep an eye on that. I'll check to see if he said anything about it today. But he did have this to say about drug abuse and the impact on communities.
You ever feel like everything's broken in Canada? I mean, here we are. Most beautiful place in the world, beautiful British Columbia, the Pacific, the Vancouver skyline, and another tent city. In that tent city are people hopelessly addicted to drugs, putting poisons in their bodies. They've probably lost their homes, their families. They've lost control of their lives, and they might lose their lives altogether. Just today we learned that British Columbia is on track to have over 2,000 drug overdose deaths this year alone. That is a 300% increase from 2015 when Justin Trudeau took office. These are Canadian citizens who are losing their lives. They could be your sister, your brother, your daughter, your son. They could even be your parents. This can happen to anyone. Many people got hooked on these drugs by taking them first as medications and then increasing their dosage and eventually becoming outright addicts. It's not just crack cocaine and methamphetamines, but it's opioids that are in the same family of drugs that are often prescribed or overprescribed. But the addictions that we see that have terrorized these people and our communities, they are the result of a failed experiment. This is a deliberate policy by woke, Liberal, and NDP governments to provide taxpayer-funded drugs, flood our streets with easy access to these poisons. This has been tried, not just in Vancouver, but in places like Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, and always with the same results. Major increases in overdoses and a massive increase in crime. Here in Canada, under Justin Trudeau, we've not only had this 300% increase in overdose deaths in British Columbia, but across Canada, violent crime has increased by 32%. We should have expected this because every time this experiment has been tried, it has resulted in exactly the same outcome. But there are solutions. We know what works. First and foremost, we need to put the resources into bolstering our borders to keep the precursor ingredients that go into making these drugs out of the country. Second, We need to bring in tougher laws for the violent reoffenders and the gangsters and organized criminals who are preying upon these addicts. Look, I believe, like anyone, that a young person who makes a mistake should get a second chance, but we're not talking about that here. We're talking about hardened, repeat, violent offenders or organized criminals that are devoted to a life of crime and preying on innocent victims. And finally, and most importantly, we need to stop using tax dollars to fund dangerous drugs under the so-called and ironically named idea of safe supply. There is no safe supply of these drugs. They are deadly, they are lethal, and they are relentlessly addictive. Giving people more of these drugs will not free them from their addiction. It will only lead to their ultimate death, as we have seen over the last several years that it has been tried here in Vancouver. Instead, we should put that money into recovery and treatment, detox programs that bring the addict into a facility, help them remove the poisons from their bodies, give them counseling, and help them fix the problems, the underlying psychological problems that got them addicted in the first place. This treatment has been proven to work. In Alberta today, they've managed to cut overdose deaths by almost half by getting people into recovery. It's possible. There is hope to give people back control of their lives. That should be our purpose. This has failed, but there is hope that we can turn these cities around and save the lives of our fellow citizens. Let's put them back in control of their lives here in Canada. Like I said, it feels like everything's broken in Canada. The good news is we're going to fix it.
Hey, there he is. Diagolons, man. Just what happened to Maxime Bernier and the PPC? Silent on all of this. I see Laurie's in the back room. Do you want to come in, Laurie? Is that where you? I guess you must. Should I click on add to? Should I add you to the thing? I'm gonna add you. Okay. I'm warning you. Gonna bring you in. Gonna do it. Are you there? No? Maybe not. There she is. Okay. And your microphone's muted, just to let you know. Your mic's muted. Mic is muted. Microphone. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Okay.
There we go.
There.
Now I have you.
You surprised me. I wasn't ready yet. I was like scrambling.
I have another video I can run if you want a minute.
Yeah, give me just a minute.
All right, okay. Here's all of this drug use, all these problems. It's led to a lot of homelessness, even here in my small community of Chatham Kent, Ontario. So I did produce this video about homelessness and people who are struggling with a variety of social problems, mental health issues, drug abuse issues. And there's a great organization where I live called NeighborLink. And I produced this video with them. I'm going to share that with you now. This is a unique program that is available to people. And, you know, it really seems to work. It's called Wraparound, and what they do is they find the services that people need, and they get people the support that they really need in the community. Here's an explanation. NeighborLink Chatham Kent is a local Christian charity that serves Chatham Kent residents in need of goods or services. Our motto is connecting people in need with people who can help. The support we provide comes in many forms, through volunteers who serve as drivers, friendly visitors, phone buddies, food deliverers, household organizers, and even small-scale renovators. But the most important thing we provide is human contact and friendship. 30 churches are involved. Each weekday morning at the NeighborLink office, volunteers receive calls from people requesting assistance. An account is set up for each person in need, and they're connected with organizations or volunteers who can help them. People like Harold Vanderandy, who on this day is picking up Roger at his home in Blenheim. Roger has medical appointments in Chatham, and Harold is providing transportation. Harold's role is vital, not just because he is providing a direct link to healthcare, but because he has developed a supportive relationship with Roger.
Roger and I actually have become friends. I've driven Roger a lot, and we have the opportunity to drive between Blenheim and Chatham. I get to know him, he gets to know me, and like I said, we're just good friends now.
In some cases, NeighborLink will provide transportation to medical appointments in Windsor or London, but the focus is mainly on Chatham-Kent. Roger says the support from NeighborLink keeps him healthy, not just physically, but emotionally as well. For that, he has a simple message for Harold and all the NeighborLink volunteers.
Thank you. Thank you for helping.
One of NeighborLink's goals is to help restore people's dignity by not only giving them material help, but also by helping them establish social connections. Loneliness is a real problem in society. For many people, their main social connection is their doctor or some other healthcare provider. Others even dial 911 just to have some human contact. Ken Powell is a retired pastor who now serves God through NeighborLink by providing transportation for people like Evelyn. Ken is Evelyn's link to her husband, who was recently admitted to hospice.
As I was approaching retirement, I wondered what I was going to do with the rest of my life, and I thought, you know what, you can only play so much golf. You only can go on vacation so much before it becomes boring. And I realized that there were a lot of people that had different needs, and God's given me good health, and so I wanted to help people in any way that I can. And NeighborLink, of course, offers a lot of services. We help people with food, shelter, transportation, and that's one of the things that I do, and so I enjoy doing that for NeighborLink.
Evelyn can't drive, and public transit isn't a realistic option for her. Evelyn says Ken Powell's ride helps her and her husband more than anyone knows.
Well, we've been together for quite a while, and to lose him now would be, it's going to be a hardship. And to go through NeighborLink and have the ride to go is helping me as well as it's helping him. Because when I go and see him, he just perks right up.
NeighborLink supports go far beyond transportation. The rising cost of rent and groceries is taking a toll on the community's most vulnerable. That's where Al Baker comes in. Al delivers food to families in need.
The number seems to be growing each and every day. You know, people just don't have enough money to get from month to month without reaching out for some sort of assistance because people can't afford to pay their rent and buy groceries. There's just not enough money in social assistance. So if you're on ODSP or the CPP disability or whatever, Ontario Works, things are tough. So we do what we can to make a difference and just to try and fill the gap.
On this trip, Al is delivering groceries to Robert and Gus.
I myself am on disability right now, and disability, I'm not partial to say, but disability doesn't go very, very far in today's community and society, and I'm not prideful, but I do reach out to the people that can help me out.
Back in the days when I was working, the red kettles and everything else, I had no problem dropping a $100 bill into one of them to help people that are in the need to where I am now. Same with donating food, same thing. But now I need the help. I can't do what I used to do.
NeighborLink's main food supplier is Chatham Outreach for Hunger. Other food suppliers include the Salvation Army and Praise Fellowship, one of NeighborLink's supporting churches.
By the time My rent and my utilities are paid. I live off of $429 a month, which isn't a lot. This is a great help, because without these guys, I would not make it through a month. I would have to starve for a week. So this is awesome.
NeighborLink's strength as a program lies in its flexibility. Just ask Alan, who lost his ability to work when he suddenly blacked out a few years ago, suffered an injury, and developed a combination of related health problems.
Between depression, my eye disease, I'm considered legally blind, and not being able to handle stress properly, I'm here alone pretty much all the time.
Today, Harold is helping Alan rebuild a life by helping him with some home renovations.
It's difficult for me to get out into the community to have, I guess, what you would consider normal friendships. Harold's been really good at just saying, hey, if you want somebody to talk to, you may call. And we've done that a couple times for situations that I was being faced with that I didn't really know how to deal with. The house repairs, truthfully, are probably the minor part of the need, although it's fun to work with Al. He's a very gifted person, able to do many different things. I'm amazed what he's done by himself already, but being able to do that with him has been also an encouragement for me, but undoubtedly something that just gives them the realization that although it's a large project, together we can do many things.
Andrew Hawkins is the coordinator for a NeighborLink program called Wraparound. He says sometimes a call for assistance is just the tip of an iceberg. A look below the surface can reveal a combination of serious challenges that require the help of a wraparound team.
Wraparound comes from the fact that we wrap a team around them. So sometimes that's all people need, is a team. As soon as they know that they're not alone, they do well. They start to succeed.
The wraparound team works to create links between a client and social service agencies that can help with problems ranging from drug addiction and mental health to generational poverty and children's aid custody issues. Even personal finance courses can be offered, which is critical because once finances are in order, other aspects of life like marriages and family life become much less stressful.
Wraparound itself is a planning process. It's helping them to establish a vision. What does life look like? Once your one or two major concerns are met, what will life look like in a year, year and a half? What's it going to take to get there? What goals do you need to get there? And then what's the very next thing you can do? And so from there we begin to brainstorm and write up a plan.
The benefits and success of NeighborLink are obvious, but NeighborLink needs help.
Yeah, we need donations, we need drivers, we need volunteers. We need churches that would like to be involved in NeighborLink. We want to encourage anybody in the community that can help with small renovations, with drives, with visits, with phone calls, mostly just to encourage people to know that they're valued.
So we see a lot of people whose lives, which is our goal, are made better. And I was talking to a former wraparound participant just this morning, and she is going to her third year of a DSW at St. Clair College. She's in a stable relationship. She's quit drugs, she's quit alcohol, and now she tells me today that she's quit smoking. She's progressing and on her way and feeling like she can do whatever she sets her mind to. So we have some really, pretty dramatic success stories. A lot of times it's people achieve a better life, they're able to have their children. Most of our referrals come from Children's Aid. So families need help with parenting. Sometimes the children are in custody. And so we help a lot of families stay together. Encourage people, if you've got a few hours and you're wondering what you can do to help somebody maybe that's lonely, it may just be picking up a phone and being what we call a phone buddy, and just to check in with people to see how they're doing. That would be such a rewarding and a blessing. And of course we do this to bring glory and honor to God, not to ourselves.
For those whose lives have been changed, they'll tell you NeighborLink didn't just provide a handout, the volunteers provided a hand up.
It is a help that's in our community that is greatly needed, and the services are there. So if anybody knows the telephone number, knows where that they can get in contact with Al and the services, it's a great thing to have.
Something I learned indirectly about NeighborLink is they meet you where you're at. It's not like it's a one size fits all. It's okay, this is where I'm at. This is where Al's at. The next person they help is at a different spot. They have different needs. But I didn't know that about them. I was quite surprised, to be honest with you, what they were willing to help out with.
I just hope they can keep on doing what they're doing. Because without them, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. And that's it.
If you can help, or if you need more information, reach out at neighborlinkck.com. NeighborLink Chatham Kent, connecting people in need with people who can help. And that, folks, is how it's done. We'll be right back with Lori.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
And here she is, the surprise of the hour. Wasn't expecting you tonight, but I'm glad you're here.
I wasn't either. I wasn't expecting to be here. But, where I was expecting to be today was at the state capitol of the great state of Oklahoma, filing the ballot paperwork for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be on the ballot here. But...
oh, no, you don't tell me.
There's a but.
Oh my.
There's a but in this story. I can't blame the Democratic Party. I wish I could, but I actually have to blame UPS because they didn't get the darn paperwork here in time. So we're going to have to try again on Monday.
Oh, okay. I thought it was something. I thought it was like, I thought you were going to tell me it was a pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian protester preventing you from gaining access to the building. I thought that's what you were going to tell me.
Well, we don't have those here in Oklahoma.
You don't have any right now?
No. Not that I'm aware of.
Hamas-free zone, I guess.
It's a Hamas-free zone, and I like it that way.
Good for you.
Our traffic is not snarled. People are nice to each other. Jews are welcome in public places.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. You can even be a Zionist, and you're welcome anywhere. Imagine.
It's a rare thing these days.
It is.
Wow.
It is, man.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Well, I got my afternoon free. I thought I was going to be at the state capitol, and instead, I thought I'd just, get a cup of coffee and join you and hang out and talk about the news of the day.
Yeah, well, that's good. Did you see those sunsets in that video? Do you know how the one sunset was a sunset? That's at Mitchell's Bay, Ontario. Some people say that's the best freshwater fishing anywhere in the world is in that bay. There was a guy I knew who had a TV show. His name was Red Fisher. Dude, Red Fisher. I grew up watching.
Was it a fishing show?
It was a fishing show. This was back in the 70s. He had a show, and he lived in Mitchell's Bay. And I ran into him one day, and he made my day, and he made my year. As a TV producer myself, I was in awe to meet Red Fisher, and he lived up there. And then the other sons, and it is great fishing, and you can just walk right out, way out in Mitchell's Bay, which is part of the Great Lakes system. It like knee waist deep. That's as deep as it gets until you get way out. So you can take your kids swimming there. It's very safe, and the water's warm. The other sunset, I had to get up. It wasn't a sunset. That's a sunrise.
That's a sunrise.
You go the other way to Shrewsbury, and you can beautiful sunrises there in the morning. And you can throw a line out from shore and come home with your limit of smallmouth bass and have lunch. It's a great place.
Wow. Well, you did a beautiful job on that production, Rick. Nice. Really nice.
Well, they're great people over there, and they do fantastic work. And that's an example of what people say all the time. What's your plan? There it is, man. That's how you make a difference. You don't need to worry about Justin Trudeau or Pierre Poilievre or Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Just get out into your community and make things better. Freedom is a state of mind, and it's a choice, right? So help make your community freer. Help those people be freer by lifting them up. That's the way you do it, man.
Yeah. I mean, we don't really notice or feel a lot of the government policies that come to us from the federal level. We feel what's happening in our neighborhood, what's happening with the people next door. And all of us can do something to make our neighborhood a better place, even if we can't change what they do on Parliament Hill or in Washington, D.C. sometimes. Sometimes they don't listen to us. But it's amazing how much of an impact we can have right here on our street, in our city, our little town.
And the entire time I spent shooting that, over all the days that I spent shooting that production, not even once did anyone say, are you a communist or are you a fascist? Like no discussion about any of that.
Isn't that refreshing?
It sure was.
Yeah.
There was no political talk at all, in fact.
Ah, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
That sounds really nice.
It was really good. It was really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's rare to have a conversation anywhere without somebody trying to figure out what your politics is.
Yeah.
And judging you by your politics.
Yeah. It was just about helping people. That's all that it is.
Doesn't matter. There's no such thing as Republican or Democrat children, or, when it comes right down to it, basic human needs have nothing to do with your politics.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. That's one of the cool things that the Libertarian Party does, or not so much the party, but sort of groups within the party, is, they do fundraisers and GoFundMes all the time for just regular people who are in a bind, who need help, fellow liberty-minded people, fellow libertarians in need. And it's amazing. We can raise 10 grand, 20 grand in a day for someone who really needs it. It's amazing how generous and kind-hearted people really are, despite what you see on the news, where you see so much hatred and bad behavior. But you don't see that so much when you go out and walk around and talk to regular people in your neighborhood.
I do not see that.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means you shouldn't watch so much news.
That's right. Unless you're watching here, of course. You should always watch
what
here.
What are you doing here?
Get out of here.
Night. Go enjoy your life. Log off the internet.
Oh.
Sorry, Rick. I just killed your audience.
Yeah, it's all right. I'd rather they get out there and do something healthier anyway.
That's right. It is a beautiful day here. Man, it's been one of those spring days that's just crisp and sunny and about 80 degrees and perfect.
Oh, and speaking of bright sunny days, there's a report tonight that says more than 115 people who viewed the solar eclipse in Ontario earlier this month have experienced eye damage as a result of looking directly at it. I kept telling people, don't do that. Don't do that. Even though there were people online saying, oh, you don't listen to the government. Don't trust them. You can look at it. It won't hurt you. And I'm like, don't do that. And now 115 people reported so far are going blind, literally blinded by the light. Literally blinded by the ultraviolet light.
Blinded by the light.
Yep.
So what else is going on in the news today? What's on your menu tonight, Rick? I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just
no, not at all.
going to jump in and go with the flow.
Well, we're talking about, this is a strange one. Inflation, of course, a big problem. The NDP, the sort of the really socialist / communo-fascistic government propping Justin Trudeau up. Right, it's all the same.
Right.
So as a result of all of that, now we have a Steal from Loblaws Day coming up, believe it or not. There's literally a campaign where people are putting up posters, and there's going to be a day where they're encouraging people to go to the grocery store owned by Loblaws to steal from them because of corporate greed. It's the left-wing political movement's, I guess, answer to inflation. It's like, well, if it's too expensive because they're price gouging, just go steal it.
The price is too damn high, so take a 5-finger discount.
Yeah.
Help yourself.
You know,
Wow.
This is
crazy.
To me, this is another lie coming from the NDP and the government itself. I mean, this is a way of deflecting the blame for so much money printing and giving free money away. Like, what, $15 billion yesterday announced for Honda? Another record amount of money given to a giant multinational corporation to retrofit or build new automotive facilities in Ontario.
To build cars that nobody wants to buy.
$250,000 a year that they can't sell. That today we're seeing EV sales. I saw the headlines today. EV sales are slumping. They can't sell the cars. The automotive companies are pulling back on production. I've been telling people this is coming for quite a while. Earlier this week, because, you know, I'm into automotive journalism, I saw that Hertz rental car company, their stock has tanked. That's because they invested in a lot of EV vehicles. Oh. Their repair costs skyrocketed. People don't want to rent them, so they're trying to dump them. They're putting more of them onto the market, the secondary sales market, right? People don't want to buy them, so the value of their inventory has tanked. So the cars that they bought at a premium price, they're selling at a deflated price, like a vastly depreciated price below what they ever expected to get for them. They're putting more of them on the market than they intended to begin with, which is flooding the secondary vehicle market with electric vehicles, which is further depreciating the values of electric vehicles on the secondary market overall. So all people who have EVs are suffering greater depreciation as a result. The list of landmines that they're stepping on with this electrification of the auto industry is just growing by the day. It's just falling apart, and they haven't even gotten started yet. And Tesla around the world has had to slash their prices. Last month I said that in China they had to cut their prices by about 30%, and we're seeing they had to cut their prices again this month to remain competitive with companies like BYD, which is a big Japanese company that is eating Tesla's lunch. They've now surpassed Tesla sales and production. And so in countries like China, they've moved into Australia, they're moving into Europe. And when I was down in Costa Rica, what did I see driving around on the streets? BYD electric cars from China. I told people there's huge competition worldwide for this stuff. And if Justin Trudeau and the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, or Joe Biden think that all it's going to take is to simply set up these plants, dump tons of government money into it at our expense by reaching into our pockets to finance all of this, think again, because the Chinese, the Vietnamese, a lot of other countries around the world are already ahead of us. And you're not just going to have to build the plants, you have to be competitive. And we're already not.
So let's throw another $15 billion at it. That'll fix the problem.
Exactly.
That's government think right there for you.
Yeah.
Here's something that nobody wants. Nobody wants to rent it. Nobody wants to buy it. No one can afford to maintain it. Let's throw some more money at it.
And recent surveys show that people want vehicles that can charge within 20 minutes, and most of them can't do that. In fact, it takes up to an hour to get a full charge or longer on a level 3 charger. It's not convenient. The infrastructure still isn't there. Here in Ontario, and where I live, the infrastructure for electricity is honestly antiquated. It's not. It's barely up to the task now. And out in parts of Western Canada, we've seen brownouts last year. We saw them calling for people to conserve energy and not charge your electric vehicle. Turn your air conditioners off. It's too hot.
That's exactly what happened in California too. Very populated, very woke, very green California. Remember last summer when they didn't have enough energy to power the grid and they were asking people to not charge their electric cars in a state where everybody drives.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just walk around Los Angeles. You got to have a car.
Yeah. It's just, doesn't it blow your mind?
It's like you remember the scene in Animal House, the parade scene where the marching band marches down the alley and right into a brick wall? That's how I look at this whole
about
electric
where it
car
is.
thing.
Yeah.
It's the marching band marching right into the wall.
And imagine all this money that they're investing, and I can see within 2 to 5 years getting to a place where they're going to have to sit back and say, you know what, this isn't working. We're going to have to shut all these factories down.
But they won't. They're going to double down and triple down on this.
They have to.
How wrong it is. No matter how much money it loses, they just keep throwing more money at it.
My biggest question is, where is my car? I mean, with the amount of money that they've taken from me and everybody else, we should all at least get a free car, right?
You should.
We should.
By golly, you should.
15 billion to them, 10 billion to them, 20 billion to them. Volkswagen, Stellantis, Ford, General Motors, they're all at the public trough and they're all feeding on our money. So I'm like, where's my free car?
You get a car.
I paid
you
for
get
it.
a car, and you get a car.
Because we
Everybody
paid
should
for
get
it.
A free car.
It ain't because it ain't free.
Right. Right. And then it's like the elephant though. The white elephant, the gift. They give you this thing and then all the maintenance costs are on you. And that gets very expensive.
Yeah.
So it's not really a free car, is it?
No, and $15 billion. And they said that yesterday, how many jobs was it? It was only like about 5,000 jobs.
Mm-hmm. Well, most of them are probably automated.
Yeah, a lot of these plants are very automated. If you go just not far from here, there's a plant called Autoliv. They produce airbags for the auto industry. I've been in that plant. There's nobody in there.
No humans.
No humans. Like, you have to search for a person. It's a huge factory. You walk through massive machines, weaving machines where they weave the fabric for these airbags. Massive. And it's just all automated. The only thing that happens with people is sort of they have to have the trucks roll in and they help with loading the machines up with the fabric and stuff. But it's all automated. Hardly a soul in the place.
Right. Manufacturing jobs are going away.
Yeah.
Most
And this
of them
was
are already gone.
Yeah, this was pre, like heavy robotics, no AI when this place was set up. So the ones coming next, there won't be many people working in these facilities.
Except maybe pushing paper in the administrative office.
Yeah,
Or
and
loading trucks.
Yeah, pushing a button here and there, and once in a while some guy sweeps the floor. But even the floor doesn't. The floor doesn't even get dirty.
The floor sweeps itself. You got
That's
a robot for that.
You got a
too.
Roomba. They bought a Roomba on Amazon for $49.95.
Takes care of itself.
That's right.
Even the maids are going to be out of work, for crying out loud.
Right. Just like in the Jetsons, right? The maid that they had in the Jetsons, the robot maid. Remember that?
Yes.
Didn't they have a name
I was dreaming of that all my life. I couldn't wait for the 21st century to just get here already. Save me all this housework. The Roomba was one of the greatest inventions ever. Am I right? People?
No, I trip over it all the time.
Oh,
there's one in my house. It never gets used. I make sure that it's parked because I don't want to trip.
My cats are scared of it.
Oh yeah.
I thought they'd like to play with it, but they're scared of it. The Roomba starts coming, they run.
I'm scared of it. I'm afraid that it's going to reach up and communicate with Skynet, and I'm going to get taken out by a 1000 or something.
It's probably spying on you.
It definitely is.
It's like every other device in your house.
Well, I do have Google on my phone, so it listens. And then there's like the Amazon thingy that listens, and the Siri thing over there. That's all listening. I'm so spied on, man. Like they literally. And then I went to the hospital the other day, and they were spying on every orifice in my body. Like there's nothing they don't know about me. They don't know everything. Like I have an intimate relationship with every level of government now.
Is there nothing sacred?
No,
I swear.
There absolutely isn't. And
I guess not for you.
Oh, man. Oh, but here in Canada, you know, the government's extremely active, and they have dropped now charges against a Windsor police officer for donating to the Freedom Convoy. This is
they
a case,
dropped those charges, huh?
Well, on this one guy, anyway.
Yeah.
It was, you know, back in February of, what was it? 2022, the Freedom Convoy rolled into downtown Ottawa protesting the COVID-19 restrictions. And then this Windsor police officer, I guess, donated $50. His name was Constable Michael Briscoe. And
only $50.
Yeah, $50.
And yet, it messed up his life for like the next 3 years.
Yeah.
2 years, I guess.
Oh, wait, I have to make sure. I'm sorry. It was, well, there were two officers. There's this Constable Brooke Fazekas. She was charged with discreditable conduct by the Police Services Board, and she has had the charge withdrawn due to lack of evidence. And then unrelated to that, Constable Michael Briscoe was found guilty of discreditable conduct for his $50 donation to the convoy. So I'm sorry, I just want to get the facts straight on that.
Discreditable conduct.
Yes.
How many members of the current government are donating to various, I don't know, Free Palestine causes? Is that... arguably that could be discreditable conduct, but they're not prosecuting those.
You know what's really discreditable conduct is the government using stolen information from the GoFundMe, which was hacked. Right. That's where the information and all this stuff came from. It was stolen personal financial information, and then the government made use of it afterward to go after people. I say that it should be illegal. It should be unconstitutional.
All those cases should have been dropped for that reason alone.
Mm-hmm.
The clean hands doctrine.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? But that was stolen information thanks to, what's his name, Aubrey.
Yep,
the
Aubrey.
Crazy blue-haired hacker guy.
Container, yeah.
Uh-huh. Has anybody heard from him lately?
No. He's kind of fallen off the radar.
He did. He vanished. Like a ghost.
Yeah, maybe. I hope for his sake, he's not a ghost, but I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure he's hacking away somewhere in somebody's basement, but he's just not seeking publicity, I guess. And he loves publicity and attention. So it's strange for him to be so quiet.
And, all this stuff, the convoy, freedom movement, Justin Trudeau, F. Trudeau, all this stuff, it's still, dominating so much of the political landscape. And then just in the last couple of days, Trudeau was paying a visit to that plant in Alliston, Ontario, the Honda plant, for the $15 billion announcement. And there was a cop there who approached some protesters. And now the cop is, he's under scrutiny. I won't say investigation because of public complaints, simply because of his interaction with these protesters on scene. And the reason that some people have raised concerns is they're saying, he gave away sensitive security information on what the Prime Minister was doing because he told them where the Prime Minister's motorcade is going. You can be the judge. Listen to this.
He's already here. Do you know where he'll be coming out?
He came in this way and then just U'd in, so...
Oh, yeah? So you figure he'll probably come back out?
Do me a favor?
Yeah.
I'm on board with you guys.
Yeah.
But just no profanity.
Yeah, this one guy, that's why I'm on a live feed and I can't have the profanity on my live feed.
Yeah, he's a little out there, and I wouldn't want my wife and kids to drive by with him yelling all that, and Krista Freeland the slut.
Yeah.
You know, I want to fucking beat an OPP officer and fuck the OPP, like, easy.
No, that's not me. But it's hard. It's hard. I don't even know the guy, so it's hard.
6,000 of us employed on the OPP.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that not 6,000 voted for Trudeau.
Oh, I'm pretty sure, especially with the catch and release program and officers getting shot for guys that are already out on violent crimes.
That's
Not
ridiculous.
too many people are with
it's
Justin
absolutely
Trudeau at this point. I don't blame you for profanity. I'll talk to him. Like I said, I
just
don't
try to
know
keep
him
the
myself.
profanity
but
down. I don't.
That's kind of why I walked away. Just
I don't mind you guys, but we were told that we don't want you on the property. It's private property, and that it will be trespassed. And just keep the profanity down a little bit. We want you guys to you know, protest all you want. Just
keep it clean.
Yeah.
All right, I do the Shelburne protest up in Shelburne, and we've been keeping it clean there for 2 years now. So, all right, thanks for your support.
Well, except for the Trudeau flags, but yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's okay if it's on a flag, but it's not spoken profanity. It's just on a flag. That's a pretty cool cop right there.
Yeah, well, the OPP issued a statement because of public complaints saying that his comments do not reflect the values of the OPP, and they are looking into it.
So he's going to face some kind of disciplinary action?
It's possible.
For that?
It's possible.
He was totally cool.
I thought so too.
Upheld the law.
Yeah, just extended.
Didn't antagonize the protesters.
Kept. He was keeping the peace, is what he was
exactly.
doing. Yeah.
I don't see any issues there.
Yeah.
Why would someone get their underwear in a knot about that?
Because we're living in a progressive, left-wing, liberal, woke society.
That was a totally cool cop.
I thought so too.
I would much rather deal with that guy than some of the other cops I've dealt with at protests, let me tell you.
And the truth is, you don't really know what the truth is. He might not even really believe what he told the guy. He might have just said that to keep everything cool.
Sometimes
but I think
they do that.
Yeah, sure they will. You know, I'm with you guys. I believe in what you believe in. Please just don't kill anybody. Okay? So if you just don't do that, everything's cool.
Yeah, just, watch your mouth and don't kill anybody. Seems
and I'll be right over there. I'm not going to arrest you or nothing.
Watching you.
That's right.
Be watching you. Keeping an eye on you.
But you say the F word once and...
Ooh, handcuffs.
That's right.
Nah, they can't arrest you for having a potty mouth. He was just asking him to, be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I'm like, that's
my kind of cop right there.
I thought that was pretty good policing, actually.
Absolutely. People should write letters of support and call that jurisdiction and, support that officer.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually.
Like
yeah. For keeping the peace. Yeah.
If they're getting all these complaints from overly sensitive people or whatever, he should get some support too.
Yeah. I guess he must not have realized that he was on live. Or maybe he did know and didn't really care.
Well,
he
has
was
his
doing
own,
little camera.
His little camera on.
That's true.
So he knew he was being recorded and his boss might look at it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't imagine what the guy did wrong. He did everything right there. Just showing any kind of understanding of their protest or solidarity with their protest is why people are upset.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But there you go. I mean, you live in a country where they literally charged an officer for donating $50 to the Freedom Convoy.
Can't defend that. Sorry, it's like I love my country, but that's inexcusable. I don't know what to say other than it's wrong.
America's pretty fucked up too, but at least I don't think we go that far. I've never heard of an officer here being disciplined for something like that.
And
it's
did you pick up
that they have the right to free speech in their own private lives?
Yeah, and then I don't know if you were watching earlier, but you're probably aware that Pierre Poilievre, the conservative leader, stopped by that protest, right?
Saw that.
Okay, so now, of course, the mainstream media, the left-wing media, they're,
They're
using
freaking out
this.
over that
Yep.
Diagolon flag, aren't they?
That's right. They sure are. So there he is.
Man.
Pierre Poilievre meets with far-right extremist group at Nova Scotia-New Brunswick border. And I said this when Gail was on the other night.
Yeah, I saw
and I
that.
said, I'm telling you, it's a minefield.
It's a setup.
It is. I'm telling
wondered,
you.
I really wondered if that was a setup, but
I think it
why
is.
why would his friends set him up like that? But yeah, it's like he walked right into that.
Maybe on purpose, maybe not. It's kind of hard to read it, but you absolutely see I see the political risks. So it's a gamble. It was a gamble for him to even stop.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then Diagolon raised the ante by formally endorsing him.
That's right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's probably not an endorsement he wanted. Hasn't he always had kind of a contentious relationship with the Diagolon guys? Mackenzie. Didn't Mackenzie threaten to rape his wife or something?
That's correct. Yes. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think he's a fan of those guys.
No, this is and I don't think they're a fan of him at all. They don't trust him. They think that he's a globalist. He's just the same as Justin Trudeau. They don't think he's going to do anything really about immigration. They think he's just lying, right, to get elected.
So why would they endorse him?
Because they know that the mainstream media, the left wing, that they think the majority of people will use that to attack him, and it will hurt Poilievre, because who does Diagolon really support? The PPC. Maxime Bernier. They want to push people away. Or the conspiracy theory is that the key figures within Diagolon actually work for the Liberals.
I was going to say they're helping Trudeau when they do that.
That's
and sure
exactly
enough,
right.
there was Trudeau out there criticizing Pierre today.
There you go.
For the stupid flag, the Diagolon flag.
So you
whose
can.
side are they on?
So what's the truth? Like, do they really want to endorse? If you took it at face value, it was like, oh, Diagolon is endorsing Poilievre. No, they're not. It might to some people look like that, but they're not. Or, I mean, those are the three scenarios, right? So take your pick. What's the truth? Who the hell knows? I don't know.
There are some endorsements that you just don't want in politics. Any group that's radioactive like Diagolon, especially if you're a conservative. I mean, conservatives tend to avoid controversial groups like that.
Kind of, but the thing is, here in Canada, the PPC, led by Bernier, who was a leadership contender for the Conservatives, then left to create his own party. So this, I do see the need to repatriate a lot of those people from the PPC and pull them back into the Conservative fold. You're seeing a lot of those people get pulled in anyway. The thing that makes no sense to me is I think he's already been successful in doing that. Poilievre is already leading in the polls by a long shot. He has about 42%. That's enough for a majority if the election were held today. Right. Why take the risk right now? Why do that right now? If I were him, if I were his handler, if I was running his campaign, I would say just leave well enough alone. You're out in front. You don't need to do this. Just let it ride.
That's right.
So why do it? That does not make sense to me.
Me neither, at least from a strategic point of view. I mean, it's hard to tell when you watch that video if it was staged, if they knew he was coming in advance, if that was a photo op, or if it was truly spontaneous. It looked to be spontaneous.
It
so
did
maybe
to me.
He had no idea what he was actually walking into.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, he couldn't have known that there would be a Diagolon flag on the door or whatever, this place he was visiting.
But some of this
probably didn't even notice it was there.
this faux innocence that Poilievre is putting out there, like, oh, what's a soy boy? He doesn't know what a soy boy is? Come on. Like, seriously? I've seen him do that before. Like, I like Pierre, okay? But seriously, you don't know what a soy boy is? He doesn't want to say it, right? He doesn't want to say it. He doesn't want to get trapped in. That's why he did that. but also, like, I find it hard to believe that he doesn't see the political risks associated with this. There's something else going on, like a deal has been made behind the scenes, or maybe he's just rolling the dice. I don't know what it is, but this is a bigger risk than most people realize.
You know who he reminds me of is Speaker Mike Johnson here in the States, Speaker of the House. They both have that kind of, clean-cut image, maybe lives a sheltered life, doesn't know what these things mean, very normie, very conservative, Christian, Clark Kent kind of personality.
That's funny you say that,
They
because
remind me of each other.
they gave him a makeover. Do you recall?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
he
used
got
to
rid
have
of the glasses.
got rid of the glasses. He was always wearing the tie, very stiff, right?
Yep.
Very nerdy in a very stiff way.
Right.
And now they put him in the t-shirt with the jacket. They get rid of the glasses. They just fix the hair just a little bit and make him look a little cooler. Give him a little bit more of that approaching middle age sex appeal as a married man. All the the housewives kind of want to steal him away, sort of a thing.
I'm not going to lie. Mike Johnson was my secret crush.
I knew it.
I got a thing for Speaker Johnson. Did you see him getting booed at Columbia University yesterday?
did. Yeah.
Man, that press conference was wild.
Yeah.
I've covered
historic, I would say.
I've covered press conferences for 35 years of politicians, and I've never seen a press conference like that. That
was wild.
I mean, if there's time, you could just run the whole thing, because it's like 18 minutes or something, but you're on the edge of your seat chewing your nails off the whole time. Do you guys want to see it? Have you seen that?
Let's do it, because
conference?
I think that will be that's one of those milestone moments in history, in American history.
That's right.
That's
never
like,
happened.
Like the Kent State, incident. You go down the list. Like, that's one of those moments.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Do you have it queued up, or do you
I
need
don't
me
have it queued up, but I'm sure we
Okay.
could find it real quick.
Yeah.
It was his full remarks, I think, were about 18 minutes, but it is not a boring 18 minutes, folks. You've probably seen a clip here or there of him getting booed. He was getting booed the whole time, the whole 18 minutes, and they're chanting and trying to shout him down and booing him, and at the end, if you'll pardon my French, that cop's going to get mad at me because I'm about to swear. Hope I don't get you in trouble. The audience, some guy screamed as Johnson was leaving, said, "Get the fuck off our campus." Dude, I've never seen anything like it. It was absolutely, utterly insane. Even in the ugly discourse that American politics has become these days, you would think, usually when a member of Congress, and there were several members of Congress at this press conference, usually they at least get some perfunctory respect when they go to a college campus. The students will listen to them and not boo them the whole time that they're talking. And they're yelling insults at him. It was like, like a crowd full of hecklers at a comedy club. But this is the Speaker of the House. There was just no respect at all for the office, and it once again showed me that people are that angry at their government. They hate their government. They absolutely hate their government.
That is the thing. It's like
civility's gone.
Yeah, people just. It's not even that they don't trust government anymore.
No,
like,
they hate
people
them.
hate
them.
Government. Hate the government in both Canada and the U.S. That is the case.
And in their mind, they're all guilty. It's almost like there aren't any good guys or bad guys anymore in the Congress.
Yeah.
I still look at Speaker Johnson as one of the pretty good guys. I'm not happy about what he just did with that Ukraine aid bill.
Here we go.
Or Section 702. Did you find it?
Yes, we're coming up on it here. Okay.
Boy, this is something else.
Okay.
You guys are just going to freak out if you haven't seen this.
So, thank you all for being here today. We have several members of Congress here, and we're here today at one of America's preeminent academic institutions on a very important day and a very important time. Throughout history, Columbia students have contributed to the great storybook of America's life and thought. Visionary American leaders like Alexander Hamilton and John Jay and the Jewish leader Gershom Shashis knew the self-evident truth that was at the heart of this country and once at the heart of this university, and that is that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. They should not be infringed. The founders and the great leaders who had come through this institution in the past believed in religious liberty. They believed in democracy. They believed in morality and virtue and the dignity of every human person. They believed in the free exchange of ideas, and they detested mob rule. We are standing here right now on the steps of the Low Library. In this very building right behind us, Columbia University once awarded Winston Churchill an honorary degree, and it was Churchill who said, "It is manifestly right that Jews should have a national home where they may be reunited." We believe in that principle. And today I'm here to proclaim to all those who gnash their teeth and demand to wipe the state of Israel off the map and attack our innocent Jewish students this simple truth: neither Israel nor these Jewish students on this campus will ever stand alone. Today, Hamas issued an endorsement statement of the protesters on this campus. They called them the future leaders of America. It is detestable. All of this has to be said because the cherished traditions of this university are being overtaken right now by radical and extreme ideologies. They place a target on the backs of Jewish students in the United States and here on this campus. A growing number of students have chanted in support of terrorists. They have chased down Jewish students. They have mocked them and reviled them. They have shouted racial epithets. They have screamed at those who bear the Star of David. Enjoy your free speech. They've told Jewish students who wear the Star of David to leave the country. And shamefully, some professors and faculty have joined the mobs. Things have gotten so out of control that the schools canceled in-person classes, and now they've come up with this hybrid model where they will discriminate against Jewish students. They are not allowed to come to class anymore for fear of their lives, and it's detestable. As Columbia has allowed these lawless agitators and radicals to take over, the virus of anti-Semitism is spread across other campuses. By some counts, as many as 200 universities have a similar form of protest right now. At Yale, a Jewish student was stabbed in the eye with a Palestinian flag, and 45 students were arrested. At NYU, pro-Hamas protesters were shouting from the river to the sea. Anti-Israel encampments are popping up at universities all across this country. The madness has to stop. The madness has to stop. We just left a meeting with students, Jewish students, who told us of the heinous acts of bigotry that they have experienced simply because of their faith. Their bravery is inspiring, much more inspiring than some of the activities we're seeing here. And they should never have to confront such hate on an American college campus. It's such a revered institution. Anti-Semitism has been growing in America, and it's clear why. Powerful people have refused to condemn it, and some have even peddled it themselves. From university professors to public officials, people in positions of authority have denied the horrific facts of September 11, 2001, the attacks on the United States that happened right here in New York City, and they've attempted to excuse or to ignore the barbaric attack of Hamas in Israel on October 7th, 2023, where Israeli women and children were savagely raped and murdered, and infants were cooked in ovens. Crowds of radical activists have chanted death to America and on our own streets in this country, and sub-public officials have refused to condemn them. Others have openly defended these acts on campus, and the harassing and the intimidation and the threatening of innocent Jewish students simply because of who they are. They've called that peaceful protest, and some have even gone as far as calling for the state of Israel to be eliminated. These are words we expect from ayatollahs in Iran, not American lawmakers and not American students. And unsurprisingly, it has given way to threats and violence in a generation of students who feel safe in their own classrooms, who don't feel safe in their own classrooms, or where they live or where they worship. Let me say this very simply. No American of any color or creed should ever have to live under those kinds of threats. That is not who we are in this country. Sadly, Columbia's administrators have chosen to let the threats, the fear, and the intimidation of the mob rule, to overtake American principles like free speech and the free exchange of ideas and the free exercise of religion. They have co-opted First Amendment arguments to protect genocide and to elevate the voices of anti-Semitism. They have proven themselves to be incapable of achieving their basic responsibility, which is keeping students safe. We just can't allow this kind of hatred and anti-Semitism to flourish on our campuses, and it must be stopped in its tracks. Those who are perpetrating this violence should be arrested. And I'm here today joining my colleagues and calling on President Shafiq to resign if she cannot immediately bring order to this chaos. As Speaker of the House, I am committing today that the Congress will not be silent as Jewish students are expected to run for their lives and stay home from their classes hiding in fear. In the House of Representatives, we've already acted to address anti-Semitism on campuses. We have passed a number of statutes to address this matter, and we call upon the U.S. Senate to act upon our legislation. I have a couple of my colleagues here that I'd like to share a few words. I'll turn it over first to the chair of the House Education and Workforce Commission, Virginia Fox, Congresswoman Virginia Fox, North Carolina. Virginia?
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. Columbia University is in a free fall. Following the explosion of this anti-Semitism, the Education and Workforce Committee started investigating. So far, the committee has uncovered key failures in the administration's response to the anti-Semitic attacks and displays embroiling this campus. First, President Shafiq presented false testimony to the committee regarding the removal of Professor Joseph Basad. No action was taken. In addition, the administration has suspended 2 Jewish students for a made-up chemical attack. So I have a message, President Shafiq, and a message for you all, too. The inmates are running the asylum.
That's right.
Take back control of this once great institution. You took action last week. It's time to act again. If not, the committee will pursue every possible avenue to create a safe learning environment for Jewish students. I yield back.
Next is Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis from here in New York.
Welcome to New York City.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Well, thank you very much for coming today. I'm so happy to welcome the Speaker to New York City, and we appreciate his leadership and coming here to condemn the anti-Semitism that has been allowed to fester on this campus. We just met with a group of students who told us that not only have they been bullied, but they've been, many of them, assaulted. They have been spat on. They have had to walk the halls of this campus to see swastikas painted. These are clear examples of anti-Semitism, and it's shocking to see that it's happening in the most diverse and welcoming city in America. It is truly outrageous, and it's clear that the president of this university cannot control the campus. She cannot and will not hold students who are doing these types of anti-Semitic activities accountable, and that she cannot keep the students who are of Jewish faith, who have paid a lot of money and have worked very hard to get to an Ivy League institution like this, that she cannot keep them safe. And that is why I join my colleagues in calling for her resignation. Thank you.
The next, another congressman from New York, Anthony D'Esposito.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you are a protester on this campus and you are proud that you've been endorsed by Hamas, you are part of the problem. When you cheer on the fact that you enjoy Hamas and Hezbollah, you are yourself part of the problem. Mr. Speaker, I am proud to join with you here today in calling for the immediate resignation of the President of Colombia. She has failed her duty. She is not keeping students safe. And we see on this campus the hate-filled speech that is carrying through this country.
Another New York Congressman, Mike Lawler.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for being here in New York. I want Palestinians to be free, too, from their oppressor, Hamas. And every single one of you students that support Hamas are an absolute abomination. It is shameful, shameful that you would support a terrorist organization that butchered and beheaded and burned innocent women, children, and babies. I went to Israel a month after the attack on October 7th, and I watched a 21-minute unedited video, raw footage of the attack. I watched exactly what Hamas did. And sadly here in America, we have students endorsing the butchering and brutality of a terrorist organization. If you want a ceasefire, the fastest way for a ceasefire to occur is for Hamas to surrender and to release the hostages. And if you can't call for that, you are a pathetic embarrassment to this institution and to students everywhere. It is time for President Shafiq to resign in disgrace. She has lost control of this campus. She has lost control of this institution. And after listening to her comments inside, it is clear that she has no intention of getting this university under control and ensuring the safety and well-being of every student. That is what is entitled to students attending this institution. If the students are not safe, if the institution will not act, Congress has a responsibility to do so, and we will.
I want to thank my colleagues for sharing their thoughts here. I want to say this as well. At the start of the American Revolution, the doors of this institution, once known as King's College, were closed. When the war ended, the institution reopened and was renamed Columbia College. It was a shift from the tyranny of the monarchy to the freedom at the heart of the American experiment. And now the forces of hatred and oppression once again are on the march. They've begun to try to close Columbia's doors to a segment of students. To every Jewish student listening to us, no matter where you are around the country, you have my word. The U.S. House of Representatives will do everything in our power to ensure that you are safe, you can freely practice your faith, and you can go to school, just like everybody else. We will punish those who have allowed this violence and bigotry to go unchecked. With that, I'll take a few questions. We met briefly with the president and her top officials right before we came out on the steps here. We encouraged her to take immediate action and stamp this out. And our feeling is that they have not acted to restore order on the campus. This is dangerous. This is not free expression. This is not First Amendment. They are threatening, intimidating, saying that they will take violence upon Jewish students. We met with Jewish students who are in fear. They can't come on campus. They can't study for their final exams. This affects everybody's lives, and it affects the image that we portray to the world. This is not who we are as Americans, and it's time to act like it.
Speaker, have you spoken to the president about bringing in the National Guard? A number of senators have done that. Are you urging the president to do that as well?
My intention is to call President Biden after we leave here and share with him what we have seen with our own two eyes and demand that he take action. There is executive authority that be appropriate. If this is not contained quickly, and if these threats and intimidation are not stopped, there is an appropriate time for the National Guard. We have to bring order to these campuses. We cannot allow this to happen around the country. We are better than this. We are better than this, and I'll ask the president to do that, and I'll tell him that very same thing.
Speaker, what is the House going to do? So you've moved some things, you've done. What is your plan when you get back?
The House has been investigating a number of these campuses. There is a nexus to federal funding. if these campuses cannot get control of this problem, they do not deserve taxpayer dollars. That's a very serious issue. You've seen our Education and Workforce Committee having oversight hearings. We have brought the presidents of these universities to Congress to testify under oath, and you've seen accountability begun there. There'll be much more of that. We'll continue to work on legislation to adjust this at the federal level. This Congress, and I genuinely believe there's bipartisan agreement on this, will stand for what is good and what is right. It does not matter who shouts in our faces. We're going to do what is right by America. We respect free speech. We respect diversity of ideas. But there is a way to do that in a lawful manner, and that's not what this is.
Mr. Speaker, what do you want them? So there are students, some of the student organizers are part of a group called Jewish Voices for Peace. There are two students who held a press conference yesterday saying that they face more anti-Semitic attacks from Jewish students, from Israeli students, than from the group that is in the encampment. So how do you respond to the fact that they say
I'm not sure who the aggressors are, but I will tell you that any of that is inappropriate. It's lawlessness. It's chaos. That is not who we are. We believe in the rule of law. That is one of the foundational principles of America, and it must be maintained. The college campus used to be the place for respectful debate, for the differences of opinion and the free marketplace of ideas to be discussed. That is not what is happening here. You're intimidating and shouting down people you disagree with. You cannot censor and silence viewpoints you disagree with. That is not American. You do not understand what it means to respect the First Amendment. Yes.
What is your message to the students inside the encampment right now?
My message to the students inside the encampment is go back to class and stop the nonsense. Look, if we want to have a debate on campus about the merits of these things, let's do that. But you can't intimidate your fellow students and make them stay home from class. Think about that. Is that right? Do you think that's right? Stop wasting your parents' money, Congressman Lawler says. I think that's right. Last one.
Anti-Zionist Jews inside the camp that are celebrating Shabbat.
I don't know who's in that camp over there, but I would tell you that this is unacceptable, and the American people are demanding accountability for it. And that's why we made the trip here today. That's why this press conference is important. We want this administration and the administration of every university campus around the country to bring this to account and to bring this lawlessness to an end. And that's what we need to do. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Just wow. That was something. And there he is going, you don't have the right to shout somebody down. And they start shouting louder. Mm-hmm. Did you hear at the end? Get the fuck out of here. It was so New York. So New York. Get the fuck out of here. Unbelievable. Have you ever seen a press conference quite like that?
Not a press conference.
Wow.
Nope.
With a Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Just incredible. And, what he said there about talking to President Biden, I'm sure Biden won't listen to his perfectly reasonable counsel. But I just want to remind people that in 1962, President Kennedy federalized the National Guard and called out U.S. Marshals to the University of Alabama at Ole Miss, at Oxford. So that for one black student, James Meredith, could be admitted without these marauding gangs coming around and saying, boy, you ain't welcome here on this here campus. And you look at these Gaza solidarity encampments that are popping up at hundreds of campuses across America. And, they've literally got what they call Zionist-free zones. You've probably seen video of this where, say, a Jewish student will be surrounded by a group of these, I call them pro-Hamas. They're not really pro-Palestine. They're like openly, in many cases, pro-Hamas protesters saying Zionists aren't welcome here. Get off our campus. We don't want you. You know, what's the difference between that? I mean, imagine if they encircled a black person and said, "You ain't welcome on this campus, boy." That would be a clear violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Regardless of what's happening in Gaza, with Israel, Palestine, Hamas, this is the United States. This is a university campus. Everyone, every student should be able to go to class, not be harassed, regardless of what's going on halfway around the world.
Right.
Over there. These are issues, sure, they can be explored, you can discuss them, you can debate them, you can even have protests. But what's going on over there doesn't justify, it shouldn't even have any bearing on whether a student, regardless of their religion or their political beliefs or anything else, whether they should be allowed to go to a class. Zionist free or a Jew free zone? What the hell is that? No justification.
You were talking earlier about the communists wanting to overthrow the government there in Canada.
Good luck. Not going to happen. But anyway.
I think the government's going to have a vote in that.
I think so.
And they've got the horses and the tanks and the guns, and you don't.
Yeah.
So, end of story. But
not quite. We'll come back to that in a moment, but go ahead.
We will come back to that. Because, you know, most of these groups that are taking over the college campuses, they're Marxist groups. They're socialists and communists. And our friend, Caleb Maupin, right, supports the Palestinian Liberation Movement. He's in New York City, and he's been reporting. I lost my camera there.
Not going to run that here.
No.
Not tonight. No.
We don't want to run that.
Okay.
But Caleb messaged me yesterday. You know, he's been covering these protests down at Columbia, and he got himself a wake-up call yesterday because, you know, he's on their side. And yet he found the protesters were hostile even to him. And he's trying to interview them. He's just reporting on the protests for RT, right?
Yeah.
And he tells them who he's with. I'm with Russia Today. And a group of the protesters started coming to him, getting really aggressive. Like, they literally said, we're going to fuck you up because you're, you know, a Russian fascist or whatever. So he texted me going, there's something not right about these protests. These people don't want to be liked. They're not trying to win hearts and minds. They don't want to talk to the press. They hate us. And it was like a revelation for Caleb. Like, he just realized, you know, these people really hate America.
Yeah.
I think it was like, oh,
well,
you think?
People in glass houses, Lori, should be careful about the stones they throw too. But that's a whole other conversation for another time, maybe. And we've, you know, so let's just move on from that.
Well, I thought before we go, I'll play you a clip here from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He has a new interview out today with Raymond Arroyo of Fox News. And he asked Kennedy what his thoughts are on these protests on college campuses, if they are protected by the First Amendment or not. Let's have a listen.
Regroup to raise the banner for another surprise attack. Oh, I don't see, you know, when you say ceasefire, what are you talking about? Because Hamas doesn't want to stop firing rockets.
What would you do about all these protests we're seeing at universities across the country? At the University of Michigan, at Columbia, at NYU, where they're essentially blocking Jewish students from coming to class and occupying public spaces. What would you do if you were president?
Well, you know, first of all, I would have to look at each instance because I am a free speech absolutist. If people want to protest, I believe they ought to be able to protest. Now, there's a big difference if you're at a public university, which is government funded, and you're at a private university, because a lot of the private universities have already adopted rules that constrain free speech, which they're allowed to do. It's like a private club can say, don't talk politics in our club. They can do that, or a private home. You can make those rules. And if you're saying you can't make rules that, you know, that, for example, make black people on our campus feel uncomfortable or feel, threatened. If you're saying that, then you have to offer Jews the same protection. You can't. And so I think there's different rules. There's a different set of expectations on those private campuses than on the public. And public campuses, here's what. If you're making somebody feel threatened, you can be prosecuted for that or disciplined. But in terms of just the protests, I wouldn't, I think the protests to me are offensive, but I support the ability of Nazis to protest. And I did when they marched in Skokie in 1978. The ACLU, most liberals said, yeah, what they're saying is appalling, but we have to be willing to die for their right to say it.
But they can't block access of kids because of their nationality or race from going to
Yeah,
school.
if you're doing that, exactly what you said, if you're blocking access because of their race, then that's subject to discipline.
Let's talk.
Your microphone is muted.
Sorry. There we go.
Unmute yourself.
I keep forgetting.
I need to hear
that
you.
Button. Ugh. Kennedy said there that if you're blocking access because of someone's race, that's obviously, prohibited under the Civil Rights Act. But that also applies to religion. Being a Jew is not a race. It's a religion. People get that confused, but it's actually not necessarily a race. But you can't do that because of someone's religion either.
It's sad because that's why people came to America and Canada.
Exactly.
And now look where we are.
Exactly. So we will continue this conversation. I know we're running out of time, but tomorrow night on Strange Bedfellows, we're going to do most of the show. We're going to talk about these protests on college campuses that have been burning up the United States and Canada too for the past 10 days at least. This has been going on, and we'll be talking to. It's going to be amazing. We'll have people representing 4 different countries, maybe even 5, depending on how you look at Ukraine or Crimea, because our friend Kevin Michalitzi, our correspondent in Crimea, will be joining us on Strange Bedfellows. We're going to talk about that $60 billion aid package to Ukraine, something I'm not happy with my crush, Mike Johnson, about. So we'll talk about that. And depending on whether you look at it as Russia or Ukraine, Crimea, it's a little bit of both. So that's 2 countries right there. And then we'll have Naomi Allen over in South Africa. That's 3. And Rick up in Canada. That's 4. And
Mr. Canuck right here.
Here in the United States.
I'll wear my hockey jersey.
And so we're going to cover 4 different time zones. It'll be like the middle of the night in South Africa and in Russia. I'm really looking forward to this. It'll be a great show tomorrow night.
Good. Yeah, and we'll be back with our regularly scheduled Maverick News program as well. I'll try to start it at 6 p.m. tomorrow night instead of 7. We've been doing it like 7 o'clock more regularly lately.
I noticed,
but
yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of stuff going on around here. So it's just, I've needed that extra hour. But yeah, we'll try and get things back on track. So,
well, I look forward to seeing you then, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Mavericks, Rick, thanks for having me on. Nice to see you tonight. Nice to spend Friday night with you.
My pleasure. Thank you for the unexpected
family.
surprise. Yeah. All right.
My pleasure.
And with that, folks, stick around, Lori. We'll chat for just a minute, and we'll wrap it up here, folks. Again, 6 p.m. tomorrow night. And then stick around for Lori's program, Strange Bedfellows, after that. And I need to find the right closer. Where is it? Hang on a sec. There it is. I found it. Catch you tomorrow on the flip side.
See you guys.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.